Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another General Cadaver video. Today's video is going to be another pretty simple video. In today's video we're going to be going through every episode of the first season of Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt is a show really from the 80s and 90s. It says that it came out in June 10th of 1989. These are a bunch of like horror episodes that originate from, I believe, like a few comics. I believe there's like 3 different brands or companies of comics that this show like took inspiration from. Like some of the chapters, I guess, or some of the stories in the comics, this show or the producers of the show or whatever took and turned into Tales from the Crypt. I watched season 1 back in probably like March or April. I didn't put it in my April watched just because there's not like a thing for it on Letterboxd. I can't like necessarily like add it to my list or anything. Even if I like search it up, it's just not on there. So I've been having to like write it down, just like keep it for myself that I've watched it, and I kind of just forget in those videos. Yeah, today's video we're just going to be rating, reviewing, and ranking every single season 1 episode. I'm going to be ranking them from worst to best, like in my opinion the worst episode or the least entertaining episode all the way to the best episode, or the episode that I thought was the most interesting or the most entertaining episode. They also have, Tales from the Crypt also has movies. One of my favorites is Bordello of Blood. That's a really interesting vampire movie, and vampires are like one of my favorite mythical creatures. I myself am a vampire, if you can't tell. I just love vampires. That one's like a vampire brothel. And then there's also Demon Knight, which is a really just super fun movie. It actually stars one of the main guys from the very first episode of season 1 of Tales from the Crypt. So that was like really interesting, especially seeing the movies first and then going back to the episodes and seeing that guy. He like has a big part in I mean not every single episode, but he's in like I think a few at least. I could be wrong, but that was interesting. And I saw those movies before I saw the show, and I fell in love with the movies, and then I started watching some YouTube videos about the show, so I started getting like really interested in watching the show, and I finally was able to find it and watch it for myself. So I'm really excited to bring you this video. The nail polish I'm wearing is Opie. I believe the color is Quest for Quartz. It's got like a little bit of a mauve pink tone, but it really just blends in with my skin color. Like it's a little pinker than my skin. My skin's like a little more yellow, but yeah, it has like a little subtle sparkles in it. Wearing some red and brown eyeshadow. This lipstick, I'm not exactly sure where this is from. This is like, somebody bought it for my mom, but my mom doesn't really wear lipstick, so I took it because I liked the color. This shirt's from the Ragged Priest. Got this like years ago. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and jump into the rating and ranking. So the worst episode of season 1, there are 6 episodes. So in 6th place for me is an episode titled Lover Come Hack to Me. I believe like every like place you can find this on, Tales from the Crypt on, I believe everyone has like different episodes in different order, so I'm not sure like what episode this is in terms of like order, because the orders are always different. I think I'm just gonna say this is like the 5th episode, but it could like be different depending on where you find this and like where you're able to watch it. To me, the worst episode of season 1 is, and the episode that is in 6th place for me is Lover Come Hack to Me. This episode has an actress that I enjoy in it. She plays some funny roles in other movies that I've seen. Basically, this guy marries this woman. He marries her just for her money and stuff because apparently she's rich, and it's like their honeymoon, so they're planning on having, he's like, when she comes out in like lingerie and stuff, and he actually gets excited to like have sex with her. After they have sex, he pulls out an axe and she kills him. And then he like wakes up as a ghost, and he sees her again kill another man, but like the setting is like older. Well, it turns out he's gone back in time somehow. I guess he's dead, and he's seeing like what the girl's mother did. So like this is like what they do, like just what the girl's family does to men. She says like she wants to keep her love perfect. She says like our love is so perfect right now. Why would like I want to, like I need to kill you so I can keep it this perfect, because it never stays, it never, like it always changes, it always, like the way the person feels always changes. So she kills him to keep the love perfect, and he's like, I never loved you, it's not perfect in the first place, I just want your money, I just want what you have. She doesn't believe him. She says, no, you love me, and so she kills him. But the way the episode is shot is just really, it's kind of confusing, because you see, she plays her mom too. So she plays herself, and then she plays her mother. So when you see the scene, you're thinking that you're seeing, when you see the scene where the guy, you know, once he dies and he wakes up and he sees the girl's mom killing the guy, well, it's her playing the mother. So you think it's like, oh, did he wake up and he's seeing like the next guy, but then he's like telling her the same stuff. And it's just really, it's not shot well. It's not the most entertaining episode. It's a little boring because it's just like her, I don't know, kind of being insecure and soft-spoken, and then he's obviously just wanting her money and stuff, but then she like turns out to be crazy, and you kind of feel, I don't know, you feel bad for both of them, I guess, because she's obviously crazy, but she thinks that he loves her, but he obviously doesn't, but he's lying to her about loving her, so he gets killed because he's lying, but like, which sucks because he, you know, dying, I guess, would suck. It's just kind of shot confusingly. It's not the most like straightforward episode, I guess. And I wasn't too invested into the story. I mean, they're short episodes, so you don't really get too much like fleshing out of the characters, but I just didn't really enjoy this one. It was kind of boring, less entertaining than I expected. Yeah, I had to like watch videos about it to like find out like that scene that it showed was like her mother, because I thought it was her next victim, and like somehow he was seeing her next victim, but that was like her mom and her dad, or her mom's first husband. I'm not sure, but yeah, this episode gets 6th place for me. If I had to give this episode like a star, if I had to give this episode like a star rating, like out of 5, I guess I'd probably give it 2 stars. I mean, there's some funny moments with like the guy discovering he's gonna die. That's kind of funny. I guess how soft-spoken and insecure the girl seems compared to how crazy she is, like by getting the axe and trying to kill her partner, is like funny and ironic, like the contrast. It's not like super boring, but it was just, yeah, mostly confusing. Watching this one, I was confused about like the scenes, and yeah, I just had to like afterwards had to like put the pieces together in my head and be like, oh, okay, this is that and that is this. So 6th place, 2 out of 5 stars for me for Lover Come Hack to Me. Okay, so in 5th place, the second worst episode in season 1 of Tales from the Crypt, in my opinion, is the episode The Man Who Was Death. This actually stars the guy who is like the star of Demon Knight. He's like amazing in that movie. So this episode follows this man. He is like an executioner. He like on the electric chairs, he like pulls the lever to cause the electrocution thing to touch the people and electrocute and kill them. Something happens, the like death penalty is abolished as it should be, and he gets fired, and he's upset because there's some trial. This murderer or something is on trial, and he should have like been convicted, but something happened, like something wasn't signed properly, or there was like a little circumstantial reason, like a technical reason that he wasn't convicted. So the guy, the main character, he gets really upset, and he goes around and he kills the guy. Well, the first guy that he kills, the police and stuff, they don't think that it was a murder, so he gets like really confident, he gets cocky, and he thinks that he can keep doing this. So he goes and like there's somebody else on trial, and he thinks that they should die, so he kills them again. I believe there's somebody else, I don't know, a prostitute or something. He like tries to kill him, it doesn't work. But in the end, we see him, he like gets charged for what he did, obviously, because he killed people, like unlawfully killed people. So he gets arrested, and we see that like for some reason the death penalty like gets brought back. So we see him like crying and sobbing in the chair right before he gets electrocuted, and he's like, if a man's not good at his job, what is he good for, or something. He's like crying, he's like, I was just doing my job, which he kind of was. Like the government gave him a job doing something, and then they just told him, hey, you don't need to do this job anymore, even though it had like already become like a big part of him. So he was kind of just doing his job, really. But of course the government had to on him for doing his job, basically. He dies in the same way that he was like causing death to other people, or he dies because of his like selfish actions, thinking that he could be the executioner for everybody or for every case. It just wasn't too interesting to me just watching this guy go around. It's basically just him monologuing the whole time, like we hear his like thoughts or something, or his voiceover over most of the episode. I did like seeing the guy, but it was okay. It was just one of the more boring episodes. There wasn't too much horror. It was just a guy killing people. That's kind of like really, really basic, I guess, for horror. You know, a guy kills another guy in like every horror movie. So him just killing people, it wasn't really that interesting. Like, everybody kills people, so it just wasn't too interesting, so I give it 5th place. But I did enjoy it more than Lever Come Hack to Me, just because it's really straightforward. There's no like confusion, or the shots are all pretty similar. You kind of like understand how point B came from point A, and yeah, I put it in 5th place. It's not like the most interesting episode ever, but it's definitely not the worst, especially of this season. If I had to give it like a star rating, I guess I would give it like a 3 out of 5. It's pretty good, just like a basic episode. It's just not that entertaining to me personally. All right, so in 4th place, we have the episode Collection Completed. So this episode is about a husband and wife, a really old couple, like retired couple. The husband's name is Jonas and the wife's name is Anita. So Jonas is like retired. I guess his wife was a stay-at-home wife. So Anita is at home all day. Jonas comes home, and I guess this is like an everyday thing because he seems so tired of it. He comes home, and Anita is like, there's animals everywhere. She's like making food for the animals in like the guy's seat. There's pet hair on like everything, and he's really, really upset. I think he like gets home and he's really upset because like I think she gives him like animal food or something, and he wants like human food, but she's like treating him like an animal. I think the next morning he wakes up and Anita is making steak on the stove, and he sits down and he is like smiling. He thinks it's for him, and then she goes and puts it on a plate on the ground, and a dog comes and eats it. So he like gets pissed off because I think she just made him like cereal or something, and she made the dog like a whole steak. So he gets upset about that, and then she comes home with this like jowly pit bull dog or something named Jonas, and she says it reminds her of him, and he gets really mad about that. Eventually, Anita goes down to the basement. I think like everything's quiet, or she hasn't seen the animals or something in a minute, so she goes down to the basement, and in the basement she just sees like every single one of her animals taxidermied, and it was kind of upsetting to see because presumably he killed every single animal just to taxidermy it. Typically, you wait till an animal dies of natural causes, or, you know, an animal is so injured that there's no other choice but to kill them. So then you taxidermy them. There's no humane person who will specifically kill an animal to taxidermy the animal. That is evil. That's like disgusting. That's not humane. That's like selfish beyond selfish to kill an animal specifically to taxidermy it. So her face says it all. She's like extremely upset. She's, seeing all like her loved ones, all her like adored baby pet animals just all dead and like crudely stitched over plastic or foam molds with fake marble eyes in place. So I think it like fades out or whatever. So we see that horrible, horrific scene. It's like the next day, somebody comes over. I can't remember if it's like their neighbor or like a coworker of Jonas's from like his business, from like whatever he did, but somebody comes over and Anita lets the guy in to the house, and on the chair is Jonas all like crudely stitched together. His skin is like all different shades of like yellow and pale yellow greens and creams and tans and things. He's been taxidermied, so Anita presumably was so mad about the taxidermied animals, what he did to her, justifiably so, that she in turn killed him and taxidermied him, which I think is pretty fitting. I mean, like, you know, he's such an ass that he's gonna kill innocent animals that are just trying to get your attention and your love, just living their life innocently, and, you know, he's gonna selfishly end their existences and taxidermy them just because he's upset. I mean, he did deserve what he got. Anita probably should have done that in the first place. I don't know why Anita would be with somebody like Jonas, somebody who hates animals when she loves animals so much. I'm a big animal lover. I have a bunch of cats. I could not be with somebody who hated animals because I love animals. I like being around animals. If I see an animal outside, I'm gonna give it water, I'm gonna feed it, you know. It's kind of a weird pairing because presumably she would have been into animals most of their lives, but it is like back in the older days, back when people would stay together just out of necessity or stay together just because like a woman couldn't do anything without a man. So it's probably a situation like that, but I like the look on the guy's face when he sees the guy taxidermied, and I feel bad for Anita because Anita, you know, Jonas was kind of this old bitter guy, which I mean is understandable because he worked all his life, but guys, get some therapy for your anger issues, or find an animal that you do like, or find something that you can have a hobby, you know, like Anita does. Don't just kill the innocent animals just because they make you uncomfortable. Like, you don't get to do that just because you're uncomfortable. So this episode mostly just pissed me off because of the, like, animal mistreatment. It was pretty good. I did like the ending. Like, she didn't get any of her pets back, but I mean, obviously there's a million pets in the world. We can always bring more in. So she didn't get any of her pets back, but she was able to get one back on Jonas for what he did to her. So if I had to give this one a star rating, I'd probably give this one a 2.5. It's a little more boring than The Man Who Was Death, but it's not as like stupid to me as Lover Come Hack to me. It was just kind of upsetting. Like, it is really upsetting, just the implication of what Jonas did to the animals. You know, we don't know how he killed them. We hope that he killed them humanely before he taxidermied them, but knowing him, he probably let them suffer before he finally killed them. So I think the ending is very fitting. I'm glad that Jonas died. I think he got what he deserved. I'm glad she taxidermied him, and I'm really glad that now her and her animals can live a long, happy life without that act. All right, so in third place, we have an episode titled Only Sin Deep. This episode is about this. Her name is Sylvia Vane, I believe. She's with her friend, and her friend's pimp arrives and tries to like get Sylvia to work with him. She goes like seduces him into the alley, and then she like robs him and shoots him. I don't know if he dies or if he's still alive. He gets shot, and then she runs over to this pawn shop where she tries to like sell whatever jewelry he had on him. The jewelry guy, or the pawn shop guy, maybe he like runs into this stuff a lot because I think he realizes that the jewelry is stolen. Not sure like exactly how he like figures that, but I guess he figures it, and he's right because she did steal it. He tells her that like he won't take her jewelry, but he can give her $10,000 for her beauty. She will like give him her beauty, then he'll give her $10,000. She like laughs and she doesn't really understand. She thinks it's just some sort of like joke, so she agrees. He takes like this cast of her face, like a plaster cast of her face, and gives her the $10,000. You know, she leaves, you know, thinking that everything's fine. He does tell her that like, she has 4 months to pay back the $10,000. I don't know what, I don't think he tells her like what will happen. We end up seeing what happens, but I don't think he tells her what will happen if she doesn't pay it back, but she just, you know, leaves and laughs and thinks it's like not that big of a deal. She like met this rich guy named Ronnie, and she's been like with him. She's been living in his penthouse with him, staying with him. They're like dating. I guess like 4 months in, she realizes that her face is starting to look really ugly. Her face is like saggy and old and wrinkled and withered. It just looks terrible. So she goes back to the pawn shop and she's like begging the guy, like, you know, here's $10,000, like, please give me my beauty back, like, please, I'm begging. He says like, hey, it's 4 months already, like it is 4 months, like your deadline's passed, I need you to pay more. The total now, like to give you your beauty back, I want $100,000 instead of $10,000. And she obviously doesn't have $100,000, so she goes back to the guy's house, Ronnie, and she, I believe, tries to like steal a bunch of his belongings, trying to pawn them or give them to the guy, like in the amount of $100,000. He comes home and he sees her. He thinks he's being robbed. He doesn't recognize her, like her face or her, like her looks, obviously, because she looks so different. She ends up shooting him. And she goes back to the pawn shop, and she's trying to give the guy like the stuff or the money, and he like turns on the TV. There's like a broadcast about how he doesn't turn on the TV. I think like somebody comes in or something, and the guy's like, well, you're wanted for murder, like they're gonna recognize you. A police officer comes in. There's like talk of like how her fingerprints are on the scene, and like once they test the fingerprints, that's obviously like evidence that she was there. But the police officer, when he looks at her, because she's in there, he doesn't recognize her, obviously, because her face is old and she doesn't look like how she used to. So she takes the plaster cast and leaves. I guess like she's gonna take the plaster cast and like maybe eventually get her face back for like somehow. But she runs into her old friend, like her friend Raven, the friend that she was talking to at the beginning of the episode, and the mask, like the plaster head, like slips out of her hand and it breaks over the ground, and she's like, I think she's trying to like scrounge it up. This one was a little bit boring, but mostly I just felt bad for her. Like, I mean, even though like I guess it's kind of her fault, she did sell her beauty, but the guy didn't even tell her like what would happen if she missed the deadline or if she wasn't able to pay it back. Kind of like some sort of trick. Also, what is he doing? Like, what is he doing with, where do you store beauty? Like, where do you do? Are you selling people's beauty back to them, or it's just some business where it's like investment is $10,000, but then like you make $100,000, so like you make like a $90,000 profit or something, like selling people's beauty back to them. I don't really know why the guy does this. Maybe he's just mean and evil and selfish, and he just likes to fuck people. And obviously, she starts out as a prostitute. Like, she's desperate for money. She's like already has a bad life. She already has like problems. She doesn't need anything else bad happening to her. She's already a prostitute. But yeah, I put this one in third place because, I mean, although it was a little more boring, I guess, I don't know, it made a little more sense than A Lover Come Back to Me, and I definitely enjoyed this one more than The Man Who Was Death. So yeah, this one gets a third place from me. If I had to give it stars, I'd probably give it 3 stars. It's a solid episode, pretty good message, like vanity or greed or something. I guess it's like some sort of message about how that's bad. Because it can be bad to just be so vain and only like occupied on your looks and stuff. All right. So in second place, we have the episode And All Through the House. This is a more Christmas themed episode. It's a very like heavily Christmas inspired. It's beautiful, a beautiful scenery. It's very Christmassy, like heavy snow. There's like heavy snow falling. The house looks so cozy and warm and inviting. There's like a staircase. It's like 2-story. Like, you really want to live in this house. It's not just like a shitty 1-story house. Beautiful house. So it starts with like the Christmas scenery, and we see this girl. She is standing over her husband, and she takes like this fire poker and she brings it down on his head. So she kills her husband, and her little girl kind of like walks in the door and is like, Mom, or whatever. But yeah, so she like hides the fire poker behind her back and takes her daughter back to her room, tells her daughter to say goodnight to her dad or whatever, and the daughter says goodnight to the dad. Take her back to her room. She tucks her into bed, tells her to go to sleep and stuff. She goes back into her room. I think she's on the phone with her like lover. I guess she's like having an affair or like seeing somebody behind her husband's back. She's like talking to him about some sort of insurance money or claim that she'll get after he's like discovered or found dead or whatever. She then like drags him down the stairs. She drags him outside into the cold, and when she's dragging him down the stairs into the snow, there's a broadcast on the TV about some guy, some psycho from the mental ward who's escaped. He like killed a bunch of people, I think, in the mental ward, and he stole a Santa suit. So there's like a maniacal Santa on the loose. She doesn't hear this though because she is outside, and like the heavy snowfall and stuff and the wind rustling doesn't really hear the broadcast. So she gets her husband outside. She's trying to like put him in the well. I think her husband like briefly wakes up and like grabs her, but then like she like lets him go and he like falls into the well. But I think at like that moment, the maniac like pops out of nowhere. He like pops out from behind the girl and they struggle. She gets back in the house and she's like looking around. She's trying to like lock the house, I believe. She like left, there's like an axe or something. She like left the axe in her husband. She tries to go back outside to like make it look like the maniac killed her husband. She tries to like stage it. Something happens. I think she like maybe hits the maniac on the head or something. He falls down. She goes to like stage it while he's down. When she gets back in the house, she notices that he's gone. I think she runs upstairs to go check on, something happens. She gets like trapped in a closet somehow, and we see a scene of her daughter, like we see the maniacal Santa climbing up the side of the house into the daughter's bedroom, and the daughter's like reaching down for him because she thinks he's Santa. She's like, "Oh, Santa, I'm so excited, like finally you're here, come on in." She helps him in. We see the mom break out of the closet and she goes into the daughter's room to look for the daughter. The daughter's not there, so she runs out looking for the daughter. The maniac is holding the daughter's hand at the bottom of the stairs and the door's wide open. And the mom just starts screaming and the maniac Santa says naughty or nice. And yeah, the mom, it just ends with the mom just like screaming a bunch of times into the camera. Pretty solid episode. I really loved like the atmosphere, like the Christmas atmosphere. It was really pretty, all the snow, and of course like the house is obviously gorgeous, being stories and you know with the presents and everything. There wasn't like too much going on. It wasn't like the most exciting episode. I think it is kind of overhyped maybe, just because it is like a little more boring. I mean obviously there's fear because he's gonna kill the little girl and the mom probably, but I don't know, I feel like I don't know. I think it was pretty solid. I think it was just pretty like regular. Maybe like back in the day they didn't have as much horror like that or something, so it was more like out of the box or something, but it's pretty standard. I like it. I think the maniac's pretty funny. He definitely looks like a crazy person, like he's missing teeth and he has like this weird gruffly voice. Yeah, this one goes in second place mainly because all the episodes below it were worse. This one isn't particularly good. It's just better than all the ones before it, in my opinion. It's not like a particularly good episode, but it's a pretty standard episode. It's pretty good horror. It stands up today. Obviously, like the fear a mother would have of, you know, her kid being killed by a maniac is good. And then obviously the beginning where she's killing her husband for no reason just because she's cheating on him. I mean, I guess she kind of gets what she deserves, like feeling the fear, but the little girl's obviously innocent in all of it. So yeah, I give this one in second place out of all 6 episodes. If I had to give this one a star rating, I'd probably give it like 3.5 out of 5. It was really solid. I liked it. It was kind of like Home Alone vibes a little bit, just because it was like a nice big house with Christmas outside. Kind of reminded me of Home Alone, and I do love Home Alone. So yeah, 3.5 stars out of 5. Pretty solid episode, and of course the atmosphere is really awesome. Obviously it's getting really dark, so I'm gonna have to turn the ring light on. So yeah, hopefully the ring light is fine. I don't really film with it that much, like right here, so the sun decides to go away like literally every time I film. Specifically every time I film. I always try to film at the right time when the sun's gonna be out, and it always decides to go away. So this lipstick smells like watermelon sour candy. Like it smells literally just like watermelons. This is the shade 05 matte lipstick from RMT, Romantic Beauty. Okay, so in first place, so the best episode of season 1 of Tales from the Crypt, in my opinion, is the episode entitled Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone. I watched another person's video, Bubsy Gaming, I think. They said that it's also referred to as 9 Lives, so I guess some people refer to this episode as 9 Lives as well. I'm just gonna say Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone. I don't know, I like that one better. It's funny, Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone. Like, what does that even mean? The title really just makes no sense, but I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, but whatever. So the episode starts out with this scientist dude. Well, okay, well, it doesn't. It starts out with this guy in a coffin, and he's telling you that like people in 24 hours he's gonna be alive, but people are gonna think that he's dead, but he's gonna wake up in 24 hours, and he's like explaining how he got there. So it pans to this scientist, and he finds this like homeless guy on the side of the street, and he's like, hey, do you want to make some money? Like, come and do this experiment, I'll give you money. And the guy obviously does it because he's homeless, like where else is he gonna get money? So the guy takes him and he does some weird operation on him. Like he implants some gland from cats, or he implants part of a cat's brain into this guy's brain to give him 9 lives like a cat. So he does that. The guy wakes up from the table, and the doctor just pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head, and the guy falls back, and then he wakes up, he's like, ah! He's like grabbing his head and screaming, and then he grabs the doctor, and he's like, you tried to kill me. And the doctor's like, I did kill you. He's like, I had to kill you. That's like the whole point, but you're still alive. And the guy's like, I am still alive. So then they go around to this circus, and they have this act. The first act is he goes into like this tub of water, and he drowns himself. And then the guy says, well, just wait, like he's gonna wake up. So I think like 15-20 minutes he wakes up, and the crowd's like shocked. He gets with this girl who works at the circus. They start like dating. He does another one. He does like a few more stunts where he like does something that kills him, and then he wakes up and he's like alive afterwards. So he does a few more of those with circuses. I think it's like the same circus the whole time, the same carnival, whatever. And then each time he's like getting longer and longer before he wakes up. First time he woke up like in 20 minutes, and then eventually he's like laying in the morgue, and the guy is about to start autopsying him or something, like embalming him, like he's about to start cutting him up. And he wakes up, and his girlfriend comes in. He's like, don't start doing that yet. And the guy, like the coroner, whatever, passes out when he wakes up out of the body bag, and like the crowd is like followed her. They're like making a bunch of money. Eventually she like stabs him and kills him, and uses one of his lives, and like she steals his money, and she leaves. And then he wakes up. He also kills his scientist, because the scientist is taking like a part of the money, obviously, because it's his, like he gave him this ability, so obviously he needs some of the money to fund his research. So he gets into a car accident and kills both of them, but obviously he wakes up. Then we see like this is like the last one. He's gonna like take all this money and he's gonna go. So it goes back to him in the coffin. He's been like buried underground, and they're gonna dig him back up in 24 hours or something. So he's like laying there, and then he like goes back, and he's like, that poor little dead kitty had to die for me to have these abilities. And he goes back and he's thinking, he's like, well, if the cat was killed, that must have been one of the cat's lives before I got the cat's brain, obviously, because he had to kill the cat to get the gland in its brain. So he's like, oh shit, I had 8 lives this whole time instead of 9. This is my 8th life. This is my last life. Because he never had 9 lives. He only ever had 8 lives. But the doctor, I guess, that was just like a little mistake, I guess, like a little mishap, just something he glossed over, didn't look over properly. So he starts freaking out in the coffin, and he's like, you know, begging to be let out. The people who are burying him, they hear him, but they don't hear him. They hear this weird like cat guttural noise. So they just go like thinking that it's some cat or something, and thinking that the guy's like dead anyways or something. They just leave. And we see like the last shot is this black cat coming in, like curling up over the guy's grave and like laying down on his grave. So the guy obviously dies. This one goes at the first spot to me just because it was the most entertaining. I really loved the scientific aspect, like the whole, you know, old wives' tale of cats having 9 lives. That's such an interesting, like, it's so interesting that the scientist like was trying to figure out what about cats gave them 9 lives. It's so interesting he was able to find it and then implant it in a human. Like, that's such a cool concept. Like, if an animal really did have 9 lives, it'd be so cool to somehow implant that into us, where we could die and like still live like at least a few times. Like the actor, because he's just doing what everybody would do. Of course everybody would get cocky and you'd want all the money, but it's just like it's like a little mishap can throw off everything and make every plan. Like, you know, his plan was to like live out the rest of his life with money and stuff, and now he has no money because like now he's gonna die because that's his last life, and he didn't even know. And maybe even the scientist didn't know. Like, maybe the scientist didn't realize that he like killing the cat to get the gland was going to take one of the lives. So it's not even really like the scientist's fault. Maybe the scientist did know, and if the guy wouldn't have killed him, maybe the scientist would have told him. I guess I forgot I had another light in my room. Look, I'm new to this. Don't give me shit. But yeah, I mean, he does get what he deserves, you know, being selfish. He did kill an innocent scientist. So, I mean, I guess he kind of gets what he deserves. I do want to see, like, what happened to the girl. Like, what did she take the money for? What did she take the money for? And, like, I wonder, who did she go to? Somebody else? Somebody cooler? Like, you're with somebody who can come back from the dead, and, like, you're just gonna kill them and find somebody else? Like, you don't think that that's super cool? That they can come back from the dead? That you still want somebody else? I don't know. But I really enjoyed it. I love cats, so seeing cats, or like the reference to cats in the episode was good. I guess it is sad that the first cat died, but I'm sure the scientist treated the cat nicely. He seemed he would have treated them nicely. I'm sure he would have killed the cat humanely too, like put it to sleep, you know, petted it, given it love, and like put it to sleep instead of just like bashing its head in and taking what it needed, or taking what he needed from his brain. I'm pretty sure he would have treated the cat nicely, so I guess that's like a plus for the episode. I'd probably give this one like 4 stars or 5 stars. There's really no problems with it that I can think of, no problems with it that I found, I don't think. I just really enjoyed it. Of course, like all the references to cats, like the cat being in the episode is really nice. I think it's really cool too, like the cat's 9 lives is really interesting, like how the scientists incorporated it into like surgery and, you know, giving it to us. Like they have 9 lives because they have a special gland in the brain. Like lots of animals have weird, don't have because of weird glands, or like there's a lot of adaptations that you can have, like animal bodies can have that are like crazy. So I believe it. Like, yeah, I'm sure you could like implant something from into somebody else and then they can adapt those qualities. I love movies like that, like The Fly, when you're like becoming something else. I like movies like that and like TV shows like that. So yeah, it was a really interesting premise and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'd probably have to give it like 4 or 5 stars at least. Alright, so that's the end of the video. That is every episode from the Tales of the Crypt, rated and ranked. I guess just to give you like a little run through. In 6th place we have Lover Come Hacked Me. In 5th place we have The Man Who Was Death. In 4th place we have Collection Completed. In 3rd place we have Only Sin Deep. In 2nd place we have And All Through the House. And then in 1st place, the winner of season 1 is Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you specifically to those of you who stayed until the end of the video. Thank you to my Patreon members. You will see your names on the end and beginning cards of every video. Please check out my Patreon. It will be listed in the description box along with my Buy Me a Coffee. I have a Mercari and a Depop as well. You can check out all the things that I'm selling. I also have Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Twitter. I have a Reddit. Yeah, follow me on all those. I have a letterbox and a Criticless as well. Everything should be at General Cadaver or Juicebox for Vamps with the number 4. Yeah, I have, like, all my accounts, I can never pick between General Cadaver or Juicebox for Vamps, so I'm just both. I just have to have both. I have to put both on everything, so. Again, thank you guys so much for clicking on today's video. Stay tuned for Season 2. I've seen some of these Season 2 episodes, but I haven't seen all of them, so I'm going to be watching them to, you know, put them in order, or see how, like, what order that I like them in, see, you know, which one comes out on top. I've seen a few. There's one already I've seen, like, double, what is it, 4-sided triangle. That one's weird as hell. I've seen that one. That one's really weird. But yeah, I'm excited to see Season 2, and I'm really excited to talk about them all with you when I get done with them. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Please stay tuned for future videos, doll content, book content, movie content, and of course, Tales from the Crypt content. And yeah, I will see all of you guys in the next one.